Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Robert Kratzke. My company, I'm from Best Tech, and what we focus on is helping people use technology more efficiently. Okay? Biggest thing that's going on now, and the biggest value that we're bringing to people now, is around Office 365. All right? We've got about 40, 50 people in the room here, and I asked who's using Office 365, and just about everybody is using Office 365 now. Okay? It's become, and Microsoft has done a good job getting it out into the market. In the years past, their products, it took many years for them to get everybody to move up and move on to the new versions. But they've been building more and more value into things. Plus, they've been pushing you and making you do it. So, combination of it, they've done a good job on their side. They've got some tools here that they haven't done a good job, I think, in letting people know what they have available and what they can do and what they can take advantage of. All right? So, Microsoft Teams. So Microsoft has created a tool within the Office platform that brings together instant messaging, your file storage, whether it's OneDrive or SharePoint or Teams files now, right? They've brought these things together, and this is big. This is their big bet. They're really pushing. You're going to see over the next months to years as to really pushing Teams as the new place to work. Okay. In the past, where typically have we? The last 2 years, we've been spending most of our time, or much of our time at work. In what application?
Outlook.
In Outlook, right? Email. We're sharing, we're collaborating, we're sending email to people back and forth. That's where we spend a ton of time. And even when we're in other applications, we're always looking at that, right? Every time we get buzz message comes in, we're looking, we're seeing what it is. Okay. What percentage of your messages are not useful, we'll say?
75, 95,
75, 95,000, what is? How many unread email messages do you have on your phone?
50%. Inbox, 0.
Okay. You're amazing. That's why you sit in the front. You're the one to go to. Everybody, you have questions right here up front. 11,000 messages unread in my phone. Okay. We don't want to be in email anymore. Email is wasting time because we're looking at stuff all day long that is not useful, right? It's taking our time away. So the idea behind Teams, it's about getting you to your work and getting you connected to your teams. Okay? So if you're working with the team, right? You need to share some files. It's a report, documentation report, threat report, list some sort of file that you need to communicate about. Okay? Your manager sent it to you last week or 2 weeks ago. What do? Where is it? All right, it's Outlook. I gotta go into Outlook, and then I'm scanning through. I'm looking for it. Maybe I'm using search if I'm a little smarter. I'm probably not. I'm gonna search through, try to find it real quick. But again, think about all the time that you spend doing things, looking for things, right? As you're working, and how many people are on more than one team? Group of people you work. Do you have to work across teams? Right? You're in your IT department. You're in the audit department. But aren't you you're communicating with multiple teams? Right? You've got different projects, right? So you're always getting stuff and documents, and everything's piled in together inside with 90% of what? Junk, okay? So Teams is a solution that they built to get you working and getting you to do your work, all right? So you can see here, you have a little feed here. It's kind of like if you look at your messaging, right, and you're on your phone, your messaging. Okay. You have different feeds from your messages, your message list. Okay. If you look alongside here, Teams is highlighted. These are all my different teams. Okay, where you see the icons here, right? Best Tech Leaders, IAMCP, Office Training. Those are different groups. Those are different teams that I'm on. Right, different groups of people that I work with, okay? And with each one, it also has some channels, so you can segment it by, okay, you have your audit team, but now maybe you have different projects that you're working on, within the audit team, or you've got financial stuff, or you've got, I don't know, you get to think about, and everybody's going to have the different ways they're going to subset their teams, right? Based on the kind of things that you do. Okay, this IMCP is an association that I'm on the board of. So we have a general one for general communications going through. Administration is just for the core board members. Administration, announcements, planning, a page that we're planning our events and activities. So we segment kind of our work a little bit so that it groups your stuff together. Okay, but you're right in your team. Anything you need in your team, your stuff is right there. Okay, so going to go to I'm on the general page, and again, you can see the history of activities that have gone on. You have links, right? You have attachments added into places. All these things, just like you would have within your instant messaging. We have the same thing also. All right. Okay. Can't see it quite as well as a big screen up here, but you see the same teams that I have right here on my phone. So I have everything connected wherever I go. I select the general channel that I was in there, and it's the exact same messaging list that come through right on my phone. So it's the same thing. You have connections to all your information anywhere you go very easily, and it's right into your team and everything around it. Okay. We look at along the top there. It says conversations. Okay, that's your main conversation list, but you also have your document storage for your team. So we click on files. I didn't share any files in this team here, but if I go up here to Office, Team, Files, I have my files here. Okay, so you can now collaborate and work real time on these files with anybody in your team. Okay, these are live files that you all have access to. Okay, and you're all working on this. And again, it's real time information, right? It's a link. We're not emailing it out. How many people email documents to people and wait for them to send something back to you? Or even worse, wait for multiple people to send things back.
Email links to SharePoint.
Okay. So what you want to start doing, right, it's leveraging Teams, but also OneDrive. How many people are using OneDrive? Okay. And SharePoint? Right? OneDrive's your personal stuff, basically, right? Your old network drive. SharePoint is to share things. They're really the same exact thing. Okay? They call it OneDrive because that's your drive. But when you look on the link, when you go to your OneDrive, you're often going to say SharePoint in the address bar. Because it's the same story. It's Microsoft storage up online. All the tools you see to new, upload, get a link, do anything with the documents, you're going to see the same things across SharePoint, OneDrive, and in Teams. Okay? It's really the same thing. They're just calling it different because you're in a different place. So it helps you identify kind of where it is, right? SharePoint is your shared drives. Teams is your Teams drives. Teams also, if you have a SharePoint site, you can create a team right from your SharePoint site. You don't have to change anything, do anything new. When you create a team, you say, create it from SharePoint. And you can do that extremely easily to create one. Yes?
Does that take into account the security factor or the granularity to protect certain files within the team or outside?
Yeah, it goes across the board, all across Microsoft 365 platform. When you create the document, you're creating the rights to it at that point, right? When you share it, okay. Right. So I open up a document, and again, top right button, you have a share button. You also have, when you go to info, where you would typically go to email it or share it or print it, you can also get the sharing from there. But sharing is the way they want you to go now, the more effective way to work. Because again, you're going to work with one document when you share it. Every time you send an email with an attachment, you're sending out multiple documents, right? I'm sure we have many documents. They're all the same thing. Maybe one we changed a little bit. it becomes unmanageable. But again, if you share the link, and you can see it gives you all the rights here, right at the beginning. Who do you want to share or invite to it? In the different applications, right from here, from Excel, it says invite people. Sometimes it says who do you want to share it with. In coming out of the other applications, that's a little bit, but it's going to be a very similar thing. Okay, you can pick people who you want to put it to. You can type in people's address outside if your organization allows it. Part of the security rights is your organization might set some certain security policies over and above what you can control, but you also have multiple control over what you create in most cases. And from here you can pick, through your address books, pick who you want to connect with, who you want to share it with. Here it's a drop down, but in other places it's a box. You got to check off allow people to edit. So if you allow people to edit, we can now work on it at the same time. Okay, different people. All right. So you decide, you create the right there at that point. Are you going to allow people to edit, or are you going to allow them to just look at it? Okay, right. Certain things you share out, you don't want people to be able to change it. Okay, but you want to give them real information. Okay. Now, often when we send out a report, sometimes minutes later, or maybe it's weeks later, the data changes, right? What do? We got to send out another report, right? We could, or if you share this document, right, and even if you put it where they can only view it, but you can add new information to it. Okay, it can be it's a live report. So if you keep funneling in data, they're going to have, as soon as they click on it, they're going to have real data. If you're selling a product and you have a price list, prices change. They click on the link, they're going to get the new prices, even though you sent it out 3 months ago. When they get the link, they have its current, it's a live document. So,
How does it handle version control? There's all these people manipulating the data. Is there a way to customize that to see how it changes?
yeah, well, so, info, history, there it is. I just made this, well, ooh, look at this, we just, did I open this a few times? Oh, there's other days I open it. I'm like, I've only been in it once today. So you can see, I made some changes just now, today, September 27th. You can see I was working on this for a couple hours over the morning, this document, I was in it. So you can go back to any one of those times, and you can open up a copy at that time, and then you can compare it, and you can create a new document from it, or use the old document, or whatever. Yes.
So I come from the on-prem world, not as familiar with O365, but for example, that's an excessive amount of history there. Can you still use check-in, check-out so that you're curating your histories instead of having it automatically take the history every time you save?
Yes, there is still some check-in, check-out. I haven't been doing that much myself lately, but it is there still, and on the SharePoint side more so, when you store it in SharePoint. This is stored in my OneDrive, so it's not really a check-in, check-out. This is my document. I'm in OneDrive, so that really wouldn't be there. OneDrive is your shared drive, right? So it would be more applicable there. In OneDrive, you're the owner of it. You're not checking it out or checking it in. It's yours.
It's more like if you're the content producer at OneDrive, if you really need to work with similar and teams across time zones,
Yeah.
or whichever, the SharePoint.
Yeah, well, SharePoint is your shared drive. It's back years ago, right, when we were on the network. I had my Robert folder, and then I had other folders that were shared folders that people had access to. That's basically what SharePoint is now. It's that access folder with a little bit of website stuff built around it, so that you have some stuff on the site that you can do and some more functionality. We put functionality onto that old shared drive, that old shared marketing drive, or whatever IT department drive, or different folders that you had. SharePoint is that with more functionality around it. And then, because you're working together, that check-in, check-out factor is still there to do it there. OneDrive is your personal folder, so you don't need to check out, check-in. Okay? Right?
When you created the team, you were the owner of the team, or the administrator of the team? Are there kind of like several levels? If you wanted to bring this to corporate?
There are levels and things, there are all, it has its whole management portal about, can anybody invite people to the team? Okay, can only owners invite people to the team? Do they need to be approved? You have different functionality about setting it up, and recommend when you set up at the beginning. The most important thing at the beginning is kind of have a plan going into it. Not to go out and try it and get going, but if you're looking to roll it out, company-wide, you want to get a plan together, because like anything else, again, you get unwieldy if you don't have a plan as to how you're setting it up, and then you just get bogged down, just like everything else, right? Too much of a good thing is not good either. So you want to have a plan around what you and how you go about kind of doing things. So let's jump back to the Teams portal. All right. So this is in the team, and if anybody else joined the team, came into the team at that time, we could work simultaneously within the team on this document, right? Within the team, within a meeting that we could have, right? Okay. Go back to our conversation here. So back here on the page, if you look, all right, let's just look down here a bit quickly. About adding into the team, it's regular chat. It's not a hard tool to use. It's basic stuff there. You have your inputs, but instead of having just plain old messaging, it almost looks like an email. Subject line, so you can bold it. You can make it a lot more catchable to the eye, so you can share and communicate better with things. Right, so you put in your subject. Type out whatever conversation you need. Again, add in paragraphs. You can add in, things, numbers, or what they call these again. Blanked out. It's been a long morning. Links to documents, etc. So you can add in things here. If you attach a document, like here, Here, I shared a document, attached it to my message, and what it does is it automatically takes that document and it puts it in your file. You don't have to file it. That document was put there in the file for me automatically. Anything you share into the team, it's going to put a copy right into the file, so you don't have to go looking for it. It's going to be right in your list of files. Okay? Up top here, kind of looks like a website at the top, right? You have different choices, different things you can put in. You can customize your team so you have access to the things that you need to have access to. Okay? You may have a website that you need to go to all the time, right? Or it could be a link to the internal portal to manage whatever security functions or whatever administration functions a page you need to go to. Okay? So up here, you can, with the plus sign, you can add in all these different things that you can do right from your team. Okay? It could be a website, right? Any website you can put so you have it linked right up to the top, so you can do the whole idea is think about what you do during the day in your job, in your team, and you can put your stuff right there. So everybody has access to it. Okay? If there's a certain Excel file that you're working on together all the time, attach it right to the top. And then everybody has access to it right there, real time, everything's going on with it. And then if we scroll down, you'll recognize some of the things here, but as you scroll down, you may or may not recognize some of these things. There's all hundreds and hundreds and hundreds, and they're adding it every day, different programs that have built-in connectors that work with Office 365 in all different areas of it. Okay? So these connectors allow you to do lots of different things. Anybody see anything they recognize or they use? I see Flow. That's what we're going to look at in a little bit. But there's a lot of project management programs, marketing programs. There's lots of different tie-ins to lots of different tools, and they're adding more all the time. And you could also build your own things and give the right plugins. It's not extremely difficult to build plugins. It's a matter of just writing a protocol that Office knows what you have. So custom applications that you have, you can integrate all across Office fairly easily in tunes of, you know, in the programming world of things. It's pretty easy to add, fairly easy to add these things in, and there's a very good process to do it. Okay?
So, Azure DevOps at the bottom.
Yeah.
As you were scrolling, so also then it interconnects with Microsoft other
Yep.
applications
Mm-hmm.
and Vault.
Yeah. So the whole thing, again, Office 365, it's all about, it's all connected, it knows everything, work anywhere, anytime, any place, any kind of device. So you see, even as you look at this on the phone, you can see everything on here. It creates it and reorganizes it for you so that you can see and work and do everything here. Okay? All right, so back here. Big thing here now, mentioned Skype. Skype, they moved into, it's in the process now, moving into Teams. That's the place it's going to reside. You can still kind of from Outlook, create your meeting, connect to it from there from Outlook, but the place that it's really sitting and lying within is in Teams. Okay? So if you look down at the bottom, these different things you can add in here, different choices, even stickers and things like that. Okay? And these things here you can all right. Yeah, you can fun things up a little bit, put things in, make your own little memes from it there that's built in. But what you can also do is meet now. A little camera here. And with anybody in your team, you can meet now, and it meets in the team. So if you join the team, and I'll actually go from here too. You meet now, turn it on. Okay, so this is Skype meeting going on right now. And it's in the meeting, so it's, like I said, I just did it, it's like I sent a text, and it's in the meeting, it's in the text. So if I go here, it actually shows up on my phone right at the top, join the meeting. There's a meeting going on, I didn't even look to find where the meeting is. It's telling me right away, meeting in progress, join it. Okay? And meeting's going on. I'm in the meeting from my phone, in the taxi, whatever I'm doing, and participating, going on here. Okay? Okay. All right. Now, I'm sharing my screen. I'm doing a presentation from my phone here. My messages, right here. Okay, I can present a PowerPoint, probably. I got PowerPoint here open. Nope. Okay. So again, I'm in the team here. I'm working from my phone. Everything going on here. And again, I can share a presentation, and I'm presenting. I'm a little late for the meeting. I'm still presenting. Working at there. Okay? So, all right. I can record the meeting. I want to stop the broadcast here. Okay. So again, I can record this meeting. It's recording now. And blur the background. Just I'll mention while it's here because it's kind of cool. If you're home, kids are there, something's going on, whatever, you can blur the background, and then it's just you presenting. Cool little thing for the office, or when you work from home, working with a coffee shop, you're looking for a new job, and you're in somebody else's office doing something. You can still, they don't see what you're doing there, so you got a little protection for yourself there with blurring the background. Okay, so I'm going to stop the recording. Okay, and it's being saved. Microsoft Stream is now the internal, it's like the internal YouTube, so that's where your recordings are saved and kind of backed up there. You see the mention up top here. And hang stay at the meeting. Okay? All right, so now you notice here in the chat, right above it, meeting started, meeting stopped now. If the meeting was going on and we came to the page, you'd see the little window there that, hey, there's a meeting here, click here and join it. Okay, but we've closed it already. Still meeting now. We could rejoin it because it just kind of happened, so it's still kind of live. If I wanted to jump back in it, but meeting has stopped recording, saving the recording, and that recording, that video is going to be right there in your chat, just like when you have an attachment, a message on your phone, right? It's going to stay there. So you have your meeting, your planning meeting. Okay, 3 months later, you get somebody new person joins the team. They can go attend the first meeting, planning meeting for whatever event. Okay, you're on vacation. You can pop in and read the meeting when you get back. Join the Friday meeting that you missed and get to see the quick updates or whatever happened if it was anything important. Okay, so your team history and all your meetings can be recorded and saved right there. Okay, you can attach. Anybody use OneNote? You can attach a OneNote, so you have a OneNote for your team or project right there. Here it is. Okay. Grab your notebook and attach it. Default team notebook. Again, you can create a new custom notebook for that team or attach to one of your notebooks you already have. And now your notebook is right there, saved on the team, so you always work. Your whole workspace and things you're doing are right there in your team. Okay. So lots of things you can do with teams there, and sharing things, @mentions, and all these things like that to notify people. You can set up notifications on each team, so if something new goes in there, you're notified about it. You can be notified just on the channel. You can follow it, you can hide it, all the same kind of things that you're doing in other applications. And if you use SharePoint, right, you can follow a team. Now you can follow the channels or follow the team itself. And again, keeps your work, keeps you focused, keeps you where you need to be. Okay? All right. So let's jump into my favorite. All right. So Microsoft Flow. Flow is a workflow builder. Okay? So example of a workflow. Need an expense report. Okay? You go out, you came out to the conference today, you got to put in your expenses when you get back. Okay? So maybe you have a form, some kind of form, you email it or you carry it over to the office or whatever, submit it, hand it to your boss to sign off on, or whatever your process is, right? That gets signed off on. Then somebody's got to email it or walk it over to maybe somebody else to approve it first, or maybe over to payroll or to wherever, whoever's got to put, right? We have these different steps we got to go through, okay? All these kind of processes we can automate now, okay? So there's a workflow approval automation. I created an automation for when I meet people out and go to a lot of events, networking, and typically I have to go back in. I'm going to enter people into my CRM, put in their name and address and all the information, and then hopefully send them an email, and hopefully maybe put them on a list to follow up with at least some of the people who we had conversations with, we're going to follow up with. And what happens when you're at a big event? You meet 20 people, 30 people, 40 people. Do you get it done? Or do you, like me and many other people, have 1,000, 2,000 business cards piled up around your desk in office because we don't get to it? Even if we have good intentions to do it, we don't get it done. I created a workflow too that I can write as soon as at the end of the meeting, before I even leave, put in their name, email address, and they get a custom message to them, addressed to them, because I'm putting in that just a basic information. So I get a custom message. It puts them, the ones who I say I want to follow up with, important people, puts them on my to-do list. Puts other ones in my contact list. It could add them into my CRM. It could also at the same time put them on MailChimp if I wanted to put them onto a mailing list. It could send out different emails to different people. Right? I could have 3 choices. It's about a sales call, it's about an association I'm in, or it's about volunteering, it's about something. I get 3 different messages go out, and I just click off 1, 2, or 3. When I put in my 3 little inputs into the device, and the things, all these things happen immediately. Immediately the person gets an email. Immediately they're on my contact list with a time to call back. I could invite them to an event. I could add documents and attach things. Anything that's tied into Office in any way, you can attach, you can add into spreadsheets, you can pull up forms, survey lists. It's endless what you can do with Flow. And again, that's one way to trigger is by writing something. On the document workflow, the trigger could be I take this document and I put it in a certain folder, the expense report folder, and as soon as I put it in the folder, the flow automatically happens. Goes out to my manager for approval. Maybe it has to go for a second approval. Then it has to go to payroll. Maybe it has to go to IT because it was an approval for a new computer and they got to order the computer. You have these plot processes in place. You program it, it all happens in one shot. Okay? So here we have templates that are pre-built templates to do many, many, many things. People have already built all these flows. You can just take them and use them. Add in your information. Who's it going to, the little details. What SharePoint files do you have access to? You can only share things that you have access to. So it understands the rights and the protocols around whatever you have rights to get. You can't just go get anything with a flow. You can only do what you have rights to do. Okay? So here's flow start an approval when a new item's added. Okay? And if you see the little icons here, SharePoint, when something's added to SharePoint, sends out, starts the process into Office, goes into Outlook, it sends an email, it goes into an approval. There's an approval page for anybody who needs to get approvals, or if you sent out an approval, you can see the approval, the things that you sent for approval, to see where is it stuck in the process, what hasn't happened yet, because I'm waiting to get paid. You can see which of the managers didn't do their job yet, and you're waiting on them. Or you know that it went to HR, so you know you're gonna, or whatever, and you know you're gonna get paid this week because payroll they have it, so it's gonna be on your check. So you can see the visibility into that, and if you're a manager doing all these approvals, they're all gonna go into one page, and you can just go click, 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 click. When you're done, you don't have to be interrupted all day long doing approvals or getting things coming in. It will just go into your process, and you can even have a thing to remind you at 4 o'clock on Thursdays going to do your approvals. Set yourself a little trigger to tell you to go there, create a notification, right? Or get notified when somebody puts something in the file. That could be part of the process if you want to see the notification come in. Or you can turn that off. You have total control over what you build with these processes. If you look up here, we have things about approvals, data collection, all right? All things about different ways to collect data. Okay? Program called Forms, which is kind of like SurveyMonkey. You can build a form to be your input. Okay, show you a quick look at forms. This thing built out a few different forms here. Okay, so I have event check-ins. People come into an event, they check in. I'll show you one of the ones here. It's a good one. Okay, so first name, last name, company, email. Is this your first time in the meeting? Okay, so the organization is a networking group I built this for. And so they want to know if they're a new member, they're going to want to send them different information. Okay? So here's the form. Quick, easy form. And again, this form is a link, so it could be on your website, it can be anywhere. You see it gives you the results of all the answers, little graphs, or open in Excel. Right? It's basically an Excel document. You take a form, it's going to fill in an Excel document. Okay? You got an Excel document, you can upload it, you can do all different things you can do with the document once it's created here. Okay? So we go back to Flow. My flows. Okay, SR meeting flow. And this gives you a look at what a flow kind of looks like here. Okay, when the form is submitted, okay, simply referrals check-in form, and it gives you a drop-down. Which form did you want to use? I could have picked any of these forms to do my flow. So I don't have to know where the flow is. I don't need to necessarily even remember the name of the form that, when I look here, I'm going to remember which form it was. So it does the program, it knows where it is, and it's kind of setting up a lot of the protocols around it and allowing you to get something and pull whatever information down from it. So just by getting this form, right, it lets me then get the response details, right? Pull all the information out from there, list of responses. So now all that list of responses is available for me to use elsewhere. The name, the email address, whatever information. And again, you could do the same thing from a regular spreadsheet. So any spreadsheet or report that you create in any application that you're doing, logs of any sorts, you can funnel this all into a flow and create stuff to happen based on whatever criteria.
Can you integrate this with Active Directory, so if someone's using, let's say, a special ID, you could actually get a notification or something like that? Or a special privilege?
Yeah,
You get an email push notification?
you can put a notification to tell about any of the stuff, that anything was done.
Someone used this access, so let's say someone comes into your system, you have some special access, even though someone's actually using it, whether it's right, whether it's wrong, you would get a notification.
Yeah, and this thing flows. So yeah, we'll show you, put a little bit on the side here. So let's go back. All right, so I'll just show this real quick, and then we'll get back to see some of the reports. You can see what's kind of happening with the flow a little bit. But all right, add information into tables. I put a delay in so I could send a message out. I don't want to send it out maybe right away. I want to send it out in the morning. Okay, create a delay, and then conditions. You can put in like if-then statements. So if they said yes, it's their first meeting, okay, it's going to do one thing. It's going to send out one message. If it said no to their first meeting, they're going to get a different message. Okay. I added in the forecast that was just playing around. It was there. There's a tool you can add in and pull all different information out. I just happened to grab that. I had built in I also added an invite to an event, and I had put the weather in for the event at the same time. So it said tomorrow's weather, or whatever weather for the date of the event. It was a meeting. It was a whatever networking meeting, barbecue they were having, and I put pulled the weather forecast into the event invite. Was there. I deleted that event invite. But anyway, so two different messages based on that, and email. You see the email is basically just basic email. It's like a mail merge, right? So you see hello, first name. The first name came from the form. It could have come from a different spreadsheet. It could have came from anything. I can pull data from anything and anywhere and put it in. Again, this is a very simple use of it, but any kind of process, any kind of information, any kind of spreadsheet, any kind of data, you can pull out of any system. You can pull data, and based on a criteria, it could be about if the number is over X amount, start a workflow process, right? If the threat limit hits X, make the process start notifying people and doing things. Many of our products have these notification things kind of built into it, right? When you have certain threat levels you're facing, you'll get a notification, but it ends right there. Just you're getting that notification. Maybe you want other people to be involved in what's happening. Maybe you want to post it into Teams, to your team, and let your team know that this is going on. This stuff can happen automatically. So you'll be able to create to think about how you can use this in your environment and do what you need to do. Okay. Yes?
Have you heard if this is being used for teams during catastrophe times or whichever, where people can't join that court in their company, but then outside they're able to use this to interact?
I haven't heard it being used, but it should be. This hasn't been around very long. This tool as it is has not been, it's very new. So it hasn't been used. Most people aren't using it. Most people don't know it exists. Right? We had a handful, 4 or 5 people out of the room knew that this existed. And this is part of Office. If you have Office 365, you most likely have this. When you go to the little waffle at the corner, you'll hit it, you'll see flow. And you have rights to use it and do it. You can build a little flow for your work processes, for what you do. Okay? And you can do it very easily and pretty quickly. Learn how to do it. They have so many things for you, little things to learn, little tutorials, but these templates, they're already built. And there are hundreds of templates to look through and see here. And let me just do a quick couple of templates here. If we search security, okay, send cloud app security alerts by email or to Teams, based on your what location of what office you're in, right? Azure AD security groups. Okay, click a button to remove a user. Here's a way to, again, you can go online and go to your portal and log in, and you can edit a user, remove a user, right? Somebody leaves the company, right? Maybe somebody who, you know, there's a problem and they got to be like taken immediately, you want to get rid of their access. You have a little button that you can create on your phone. In my flows here, so you can create a button to immediately remove that person. Click the button, put the user's name in, and it will go into Active Directory and take the person out. You have to go log into Active Directory. You don't got to find where things are there and around. You can create a button without being in that. Just it's a little slow connection here. Because my team was still on it. I was still logged into Teams, so that's why it wasn't opening. So you can immediately do something into your admin portal. All these things are connected. There's plugins to all these different areas, and you can do all kinds of actions based on other actions, based on other triggers. If this, then that. Still slow here. But, on the phone, when I go to the Flow app, I click buttons, and it gives these quick button inputs, where again, you can start a flow from that. It could be that you're going to do some data input. You can take a picture of something. So one input, you can take a picture on your phone, hit start the flow, and maybe it's about an accident. Somebody falls. You can now take a picture, starts an accident workflow. Sends it to whoever needs to be notified, different people. Here's a document. Maybe you got to fill in a couple of information. What's the person's name, anything, you can do it right there. And this whole workflow starts immediately right from your phone. Things are set up. And again, things like that can be very easy. You can get much more complex with it. You can add in some programming and do some stuff even beyond. But there's amazing things that you can do just from here. Again, just by scanning some of the different choices of things you can do right from here, it gives you an idea about what else I can do. Okay? Perform an action in Cloud App Security. That's part of the Microsoft Security Office 365 platform, based on a manager's email. Email comes in about something, boom, now you start this whole process, and you can see the multiple things that it does, all different applications it's touching. It can do all these different things automatically. One shot. Okay. You see some ways you can use in your environment. Now, everybody's got different jobs, but there's different ways we can leverage these things in what we do.
These are all interesting tools within the Knowledge Suite. Are there any protections for DLP or data loss prevention features that are in this tool that protect data that sits in the network? In other words, we're in a regulatory environment which is back to certain features that kind of take data documents out of the network. Are there any features?
Yeah, it all ties into the same features. All part of Office 365 has these features and this functionality. This is within that environment. The same rules apply to everything that's going on there. If you're not allowed to send documents out for something, you're not going to be able to send a document out. You're using the same tools, it's the same rules that govern things that are set up.
Meaning that it's configured at a higher level than this particular app that interacts with other apps.
Yeah, because again, you have all interactions and regulations around how you use OneDrive and SharePoint and what you do with these things and sensitive information. It's all tied into the same environment. It's the same rules around the whole thing. So it all kind of feeds up to that. So, all right. So, key thing with Flow, you can trigger Flow in many different ways. Okay? It can be a data input. You can have, like on your phone, you can put in some immediate data to fill in right just from your device. It can be a form on the web, just like a survey. Forms that you can create in a minute or two. Create a form, what things you want inputted, multiple choice questions, whatever you want to do, and then it can be enacted from that. And then all those inputs create the different possibilities of what things you can say, email it to certain users, because you maybe entered their name there. Or based on Active Directory, you can go send it to managers or send it to other people. So you can act in it and do things in many different ways. You can be pulling in a list from a range table in a document, in an Excel file. And you have access to any of the fields within that. Based on the name, now pull the address of somebody out from that. And address a mailing list or do some other thing, right? You can create all different things, add information into SharePoint. Say that you sent out an email, so add up the sales list that a contact was made, or, you know, whatever different things. Remediation was made, a certain item was fixed, right? We got a threat report, now we fixed it, we remediated it. We can start a service ticket going in. So let's do, so quick other next step on this. We got just a couple minutes, so let me just pull up PowerApps. Okay, PowerApps is a similar thing that you can build an app. Okay, Flow is kind of like an app, it's a small app. PowerApps goes even beyond it, where you can pull in more data from more sources and create a little mini app to do different things. And pull up an example. Oh. Okay. All right, so here are some samples of different apps that were built. Okay. Service desk, open up that one real quick. Finish up. Okay, so this was a sample app that was created. You could edit it, you could start with this and add on to your application. Always allow. So these apps here can be built without knowing how to code. You don't need to be a coder to do it. Okay? So you follow the process and procedures. There's a lot of plug and play. It fills it in. It helps you, you know, anybody build a Wix, like do a website where it's all kind of pre-built and you say anything, this is what it is. A little more complex because you're pulling in data, you gotta understand, you know, if you're pulling in stuff from a database, you gotta understand database a little bit to kind of know what you're pulling at, what you're doing with things. But you don't need to be a programmer to build these apps. You can add some programming to it and do even, again, you can always extend things out further, but here it is. And okay. All right, so I'm running it. This is the app. I just hit run it. So created a ticket. You can add in workflow tickets, do different things. When a ticket gets added in, you could also create a flow that goes outside of this little application as well. Right? This is tracking all the tickets that go on and what you do with it, and then you can have next steps about what goes on with the ticket within the application. And this little application can be built out in a matter of hours. Or less to build out an application to keep track of all your work tickets and things going on. This is a little example here. Getting ready, we're kind of wrapping up here. So if you go on these pages here, it's powerapps.microsoft.com, flow.microsoft.com, Teams, and they really walk you through. There's so many resources to look at, little videos, to see it. But it's really very easy to use, especially Flow. PowerApps is pretty easy as well. I actually found last night going through it, they've already built in. I wanted to do, when I do meetings and when people meet people, have business card back at the beginning of it. So they didn't have to put in name and email address. They built that. I haven't tried it yet. It's part of the thing. AI is built into it, and that's where this was. It was in the AI. So the AI is going to look at the card and decide what goes where and figure that out. So that's what they built that. That was something that I put a request in.
What was an old app too? I think on Microsoft Word, a company from India.
There's a few companies that do it, but they're not integrated yet into the Office. So that'd be a nice thing to add in. A lot of them, they're not perfect. So if you're doing a group of things, you got to add it. It's not perfect.
Does it look good?
But I haven't tried the new one, what they did yet. But even if it's bad, just taking the picture and attaching it to the card, you can always put in the rest of the information later. The important stuff to get people immediately, name and email address. People goes. Or name and text messaging. Text messaging is coming into this too. So they're working on some things with texting. Just again, give you a last little tip outside of this thing. How often when you send somebody an email, do they get back to you? They don't a lot, right? And we don't get back to people either because 90% of it's crap and we don't get this. How many unread text messages do you have? Most people have none. Maybe one or two just during this meeting if you could resist not looking when it buzzed while you were sitting here. But even then, most people, they get that buzz and they're still looking at it, they're answering. When you get to somebody, a message to somebody, if you have their cell phone, text them. You guys can't spam people with texting, but again, if you have a relationship with them, people will answer immediately. Start doing that a little bit, see such a difference in getting responses from people. But also, again, if you're using Teams and Microsoft, they have presence. And you see, sometimes you see a little green dot, a red dot, that tells you the person's at their desk and logged in, at least recently. Right? So that gives you the idea that, hey, I can text them right now, I can use some messages, I can just do a live meeting, right there with it. Stuff like that. So you have a lot of things that you can, within the Microsoft world, to connect better, understand where people are, be connected, get more done, keep the crap out of there. In a few years, we'll probably be Teams, we'll have to do something else, but right now, again, if you organize it well going in, a little bit of a plan, you can do tremendous things and work more effectively, and look at building a flow for yourself. Think about where you waste most of your time, where things are happening that takes more time, adding things in. You're doing the same thing over and over. Every week I'm doing the same thing. Every day I'm doing the same thing. It's just processing. It's more method. So, anybody else has any questions? I'll have them cards. You can happy to chat or answer any questions for anybody or anything. Anytime. Feel free to contact me. And I think it's like lunchtime maybe, or maybe one more second, and then lunch.
One more section.